On paper, Vladimir Putin is one of the least wealthy world leaders. His official salary is less than what a senior Silicon Valley engineer makes in a single year, and his declared assets barely include anything beyond a small apartment, a modest income, and a few ordinary possessions. Yet the world has seen him move through palaces worth hundreds of millions, step aboard a super yacht worth more than $700 million, travel in an armored private train, and surround himself with vineyards, jets, and sprawling luxury compounds. This sharp contrast between paper wealth and lived reality has led investigators, journalists, and sanctions experts to ask one overwhelming question. If all of these assets are not in his name, then how does he control them? Tonight, the trail leads to a number that has circulated for years, an alleged fortune of as much as $200 billion, hidden in layers of associates, corporate shells, and non-profit fronts. The story begins with a disclosure that looks surprisingly ordinary. In public declarations, Putin's annual salary is estimated around $140,000 to $150,000. His official list of assets contains little more than a small apartment, a couple of Soviet-era cars, and a tiny plot of land. On its own, it paints the picture of a man living a comfortable but unremarkable bureaucratic life. Yet the lifestyle footprint tells another story. Investigators have mapped the residences, vehicles, yachts, and private retreats that Putin reportedly uses. They include palaces on the Black Sea with gilded interiors, residences in Valdai outfitted with private rail spurs and tunnels, vineyards producing luxury wines, and aircraft serviced through companies tied to his circle. The contradiction is too sharp to dismiss. How could such wealth exist without being tied to him directly? The answer, according to years of investigative reports, lies not in personal ownership, but in networks. Putin's system of wealth has often been described as a model built on trust and loyalty, where the individuals around him serve as custodians, what some experts call wallets. The origin of this system can be traced back to the Ozero-Dacha cooperative in the 1990s, a circle of close associates who built homes together on a lake near St. Petersburg. That group, over time, evolved into the core of the so-called Rossiya Bank Circle, sometimes referred to as the Bank of Friends. These are men who became billionaires in their own right, but are consistently linked to assets that seem to serve Putin's benefit. One of the clearest glimpses into this model came with the revelations surrounding an email domain called LLC Invest. Investigators uncovered that dozens of entities, companies, nonprofits, and asset holders were using this shared infrastructure. When plotted together, the network resembled a spiderweb of interlocking parts, all serving to manage luxury properties, yachts, and vineyards. The coordination suggested that while no individual could be directly tied to Putin's personal ownership, the collective pattern created a system of wealth management through loyal proxies. In this model, wealth is not owned. It is held, maintained, and deployed by people who owe their fortunes to him and therefore safeguard his interests. To make the system tangible, it is worth looking at the flagship assets most often linked to his lifestyle. The Black Sea Palace, a sprawling compound near Gelendzhik, is one of the most notorious. Reports have described its features: theaters, vast gardens, underground tunnels, and bunkers. Leaked videos and investigative tours have showcased its opulence. While official denials insist it belongs to private businessmen, the scale of its security footprint and the unique access arrangements suggest it functions as an exclusive resident. See for Putin. Then there is the super yacht, sometimes described as the crown jewel of Putin's maritime presence. Valued at over $700 million, this vessel reportedly features luxury suites, a helipad, and advanced communications equipment. Investigators have linked it not through paperwork, but through crew overlaps and security details that mirror Putin's movements. When docked, the ship has been guarded in ways that indicate it is no ordinary billionaire's toy. Ownership disputes continue, but the operational reality points to exclusive use tied to the Russian president. The Valdai residence is another example. Nestled deep in Russia, this estate is not only luxurious, but uniquely fortified. Reports have highlighted the construction of a private railway spur, a station, and even defenses, suggesting it doubles as a secure retreat. Again, official ownership is murky, often attributed to nonprofits or companies tied to allies. but its features and the exclusivity of access make clear that it is part of the lifestyle footprint associated with Putin. Around these marquee properties cluster other signs of wealth: villas in Sochi, vineyards producing expensive wines, jets that ferry him across the country, and even an armored train reportedly used as a preferred method of travel to avoid tracking. None appear on his official forms, yet all require enormous sums to build, maintain, and operate. The global response to this wealth has come in the form of sanctions. Over the years, sanctions have not only targeted Putin himself, but also members of his family and his close associates. His daughters, Katerina and Maria, have been sanctioned, as have individuals described as his alleged partners. The reasoning is straightforward. If the assets are distributed across a network of loyal custodians, then freezing or limiting those custodians could disrupt access to the fortune itself, sanctions docu. Ments often cite the luxurious lifestyle made possible by this opaque network, underscoring how regulators see the entire structure as inseparable from Putin's influence. What sanctions reveal is that this is not about freezing a personal bank account. Instead, it is about targeting a system that uses non-profits, corporate shells, and personal loyalties to maintain an empire of wealth. A yacht can be seized in Italy, a bank account can be frozen in Switzerland, or a jet can be denied servicing abroad. But the challenge remains that the network is vast and decentralized, making enforcement a slow and difficult game. At the heart of the discussion is the big number, $200 billion. This estimate, popularized by financier William Browder, has become the shorthand for the alleged scale of Putin's fortune. Browder argued that by combining the assets linked through proxies, one could arrive at a number that placed Putin among the wealthiest men on the planet. Other estimates are more conservative, ranging from $70 billion to $120 billion. The truth, investigators stress, is that the exact figure is impossible to verify. What matters is the pattern. An individual whose official records suggest middle-class comfort is able to operate in the realm of the super-rich. If the $200 billion figure is accurate, it represents not just personal luxury, but also immense leverage. It would mean Putin controls resources on par with the largest private fortunes in the world, a staggering pool of wealth that could buy loyalty, influence, and protection. Even if the number is lower, the implications are the same. The wealth provides him with a tool of governance, a way to bind allies, and a means of projecting power far beyond what his salary and declarations would ever suggest. This leads to the final and perhaps most important question: why does it matter? Wealth opacity in this case is not only about luxury yachts and gilded palaces. It represents a model of governance built on secrecy, loyalty, and deniability. By keeping assets outside of his name, Putin ensures that he cannot easily be cornered by documents or disclosures. By distributing them among friends and associates, he ties their fates to his own. By using nonprofits and shell companies, he creates the illusion of plausible separation while still enjoying the benefits of ownership. For policymakers, journalists, and ordinary citizens, the takeaway is that following names alone will never uncover the full story. What matters is following the structures, the corporate registries, the nonprofits, the sanctioned networks, and the email domains like LLC Invest that reveal coordination. The fortune may never be fully tallied, but the lifestyle footprint, the network map, and the sanctions trail together paint a consistent picture. Putin allegedly lives like one of the richest men in history, even if no document ever puts the assets directly under his signature. The $200 billion question remains open, but its implications are already clear. It shows how power can be insulated, how wealth can be obscured, and how governance itself can be reshaped by secrecy. Whether the true figure is $70 billion, $120 billion, or the headline-grabbing $200 billion, the mechanics of this fortune show us something bigger than numbers. They show us how loyalty and opacity can become tools of statecraft, and how, in a world of yachts and palaces, power is often hidden, not in what is declared, but in what is denied. For viewers, the story invites reflection. The next time you see a palace drone shot, a yacht seizure headline, or a sanctions list update, remember that these are not isolated incidents. They are pieces of a larger puzzle, a system that thrives on denial, distributes wealth among friends, and maintains the illusion of modesty while living in unparalleled luxury. Want more billionaire deep dives? Tap subscribe and share this story with someone who follows the money. And in the comments, let us know, what should we trace next? Yachts, jets, or palaces?